This is Season 2, Episode 2 of the SportsTalk podcast. I'm Evan Brown, co-host. That's your host, James Price. I told you about how DeMar DeRozan might bite us in the rear end, and he did. And he did. His first career triple-double against his former team pretty much smoked us. If you want to just go to his stats quickly here.
21 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists.
I'm patting myself on the back for that, but of course I wanted to see our Raptors win. They didn't.
And you didn't really see anything from Kawhi Leonard or Danny Green. Danny Green did not make a shot. He was 0 of 7. And Leonard had 21 on 8 of 13 shooting. He did all right, but I mean, defensively, he wasn't all that great. Minus 22 on the floor, so...
Raptors, they have this stinker, but of course, this is the same thing when the Leafs face the Islanders. A little bit.
Yeah, John Tavares facing his former team.
Right.
And
they got blown out. And then, like the Raptors did, they got blown out against the San Antonio Spurs.
But then you look at the games after that, and for all us Raptor fans seeing that team lose that game and think, boy, oh boy, they're having a rough time. We need Kyle back. Kawhi can't do it all alone. You go into Milwaukee. Still no Kyle Lowry. You have Kawhi. Milwaukee's had won 5 straight games at home, 6 in a row total. And the Raptors win that game 123-116. Incredible job, and they finally shoot the 3.
It's funny how we pretty much, well, I wouldn't say blowout, but we won by 7 against the Bucks. And then we barely beat the Hawks. I don't know. But a great game overall. 2 of the best players in the league in Kawhi Leonard and obviously Giannis. This stretch has been interesting for us because, like I said before, we got blown up by the Spurs. We won against Milwaukee. We blow Indiana. Which...
that didn't seem like a big test of a game. But you know what? From that game against Indiana, the difference maker was the defense. Look, the team did not shoot the ball extremely well. Only 46% from the field. Or excuse me. Actually, they shot the ball really well. What am I talking about? 52% from 3. 52%. You don't usually see that. The Raptors had 8 guys in double figures. That is the first time since like 2016 or something that's happened.
Yeah.
And you play great defense and hold their best player and Victor Oladipo to only 16 points on 6 of 15.
So Lowry's back. Lowry was back in the Bucks game, I think,
Actually,
or in the Indiana game.
I think it was the Indiana game. And
he only had 12 points.
12 points, 8 assists.
It's not bad for a first.
He also had 3 steals and a block.
So, with that being said, JV is on his way back.
And the report came out yesterday that he's going to be out at least another month, which sucks. But he is
never mind that.
But he is progressing. And at this point, look, Jonas Valanciunas
doesn't seem like he was progressing because wasn't he out originally for like a month and now it's another month? He was out 4 weeks.
I don't know. I don't know. Look, he's progressing, and that's really all that matters in the sense because. Well, yeah, to us, the naked eye of, they gave us a certain timeline, and that's not that timeline. Maybe it's worse than they thought.
So what? It was a jammed thumb or something. It was a broken.
He dislocated it, but he needed surgery on it. So
so that speaks for itself, right? But you haven't seen the emergence of Greg Monroe too much. They haven't really started him a lot, but. I mean...
For Greg Monroe, for me, it seems like it's a very matchup-driven type of feel for him. If he's facing a guy who doesn't shoot the 3, like against Indiana, watching him face off against Kyle O'Quinn, a guy who doesn't shoot 3s, and he's just a greasy, hard pain in the rear end inside, he'll have his way. Look, Kyle O'Quinn had played 17 minutes, so... Okay. Greg Monroe's going to play some minutes. He played 21 minutes. He had 11 points and 9 rebounds.
He better outperform Kyle O'Quinn.
I think anybody really should at that point. But then you go to like some tougher matchups. Like if Miles Turner was playing for the Indiana Pacers, which he wasn't in that game, you might not have seen Kyle O'Quinn. You know, you might have seen a different. You might have seen a different look. You might have seen who played instead. I think Thaddeus Young might have played.
He's still around, eh?
So he might have been the guy to play the backup.
The matchup.
Right, and you might not have seen a lot of Greg Monroe if that was the case. But in this case, you knew Miles Turner was out. You knew they were going to play Kyle O'Quinn, so you played Monroe, and he performed very well.
Against a player who he should perform well against. But it's great to see him get some minutes, especially when he hasn't gotten a lot.
Yeah.
But when he has gotten minutes, he's looked good.
And in that game, Norman Powell was fantastic. Now, I would notice with him, he's had a great game and then a bad game right afterward.
Yeah.
Because you look at his stats since he's come back from injury. I don't know if they'll have all the way back there or not. December 19th. Yeah, see, there he is. 15 minutes, he had no points. Then 11, 13, 5, 4, 14, 14, 2, 23, and then 2 again. So he's kind of been hit or miss.
He's not consistent, and for the money we're giving him, you would like to see him be more consistent. Listen, I don't expect him to get 23 points, right? If he can shed some of those points into other games, like let's just say that every game he averages like 10 points a game. That's pretty good for Norman Powell, in my opinion, right? But he has been looking better, but still not the Norman Powell we saw from 2 years ago.
I think he's definitely looking a lot better than the Norman Powell of last year. I think we can all agree on that.
Well, it's not that hard to do that because the only way you can go is up for him, just like Serge Ibaka in the playoffs. Yeah. The only way you can go is up, and he's been pretty good as well. So let's talk about these next 3 games because that's what we usually do.
Talk about the Atlanta game and how that was a rough one. And then the reason we got Kawhi Leonard is there was no question about DeMar DeRozan being able to score. We all knew that. We always knew that was like not the problem for DeMar DeRozan. And for Kawhi Leonard, you knew he was going to give you about the same amount of scoring as DeMar did. But we didn't really know what kind of defense. Like, us as Raptor fans, look, if you're a diehard Kawhi fan, you know what defense he brings. But as a Raptor fan, you don't really watch many San Antonio games. You just see some highlights, right? And you don't really hone in on the defense of Kawhi Leonard until he's on your team. Now that in that Atlanta game, this team had not shot the ball well. The Raptors did not shoot the ball well at all. They only shot 40% from the field, 46%, and made it only 10 threes and shot 31%. Not very good. However, on the last 2 possessions by the Atlanta Hawks, Kawhi Leonard got a steal, which led to the Raptors getting the lead 102-101. Mm-hmm. And then Nick Nurse, got to give the guy credit. He's knowing that Trae Young is going to take that last shot. Yeah. So he puts Kawhi Leonard on him. Like, go ahead, have fun with it. Yeah. Kawhi gives it a tough shot, gets the rebound. A couple passes later, OG, wide open dunk, ball game. And I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, and I think we knew what he was like even on the Spurs around the league. We knew how great of a defender he was. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year.
But being able to watch that?
Oh, yeah. It's very special. It's very special, and he's the reason why we won this game. Because like you said, he's on a rookie, Trae Young, who shoots up a lot of shots, gets, I don't know, not even half them in sometimes. Yeah. But let's talk about... No, you know what? Let's just stick with the Raptors here because I want to talk about Luka Doncic.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
We'll get to him in a little bit. I understand. He's fantastic.
The next 3 games for the Raptors, let's just talk about that.
So their first game is against Brooklyn at home. Now, the last time the Raptors faced Brooklyn, they lost in overtime. Brooklyn is a team that was red hot, and they actually staying pretty good. They won their last. Well, they played Atlanta, but they're 6-4 in the last 10. They're a game under 5. They're 8. They're 6th in the Eastern Conference. At a game under 500. I mean, oh, look at that. Pops is on. Pops is ringing. They're 21-22, yet they're 6th in the Eastern Conference. And you look at the West, they'd definitely be out of the playoffs. But you cannot take this team lightly. You just can't.
This is a trap game because, if I'm not mistaken, the next game we play after Brooklyn is...
in Washington. Look, I don't care what the Wizards roster looks like. They're still the Washington Wizards, and the Raptors have had history. Right. So there's always that emotion.
Oh, right. Okay, so going back to Brooklyn, they're 21-22, a scrappy team. They're looking to finally get out of the bottom of the East. Finally, is that player back from that horrific injury? Which
no, Chris LeVert. I don't think so.
Chris LeVert.
No, I'm assuming he's done for the year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, no, nothing since like a month ago. So.
Wow. Right, but they have good pieces.
Dinwiddie's good. Joe Harris I think he's a spot up 3 guy for them. He's been very good. Oh, look at that. I mean, look at 3-point shot, 48%, shooting 51%.
Almost 14 points per game.
He's doing really, really well. D'Angelo Russell obviously is great. Jarrett Allen is a freak.
And Damari Carroll, our buddy himself, is
shooting a total of 40% from the field. There you go.
I like that contract, bud.
And
is that Ed Davis?
Ed Davis, yeah, there he is. How old is he?
Former Toronto Raptors draft
29
pick.
years old, 13th overall. So
how's he doing?
He's averaging almost 6 a game.
Oh, good for him.
Shooting 61% when he shoots.
I don't care. You don't draft someone like that in the first round.
But I mean, you look at the Raptors should win this game. I think we can all agree it. They're at home. They've had rest, and they've won 3 straight, and they're feeling good. They have Lowry back now. I don't think there's any question they should win this game. But is it a trap game, like you said? I do think so.
It's a trap game, but going to the Wizards, they're not, the Washington Wizards like we've known them to be.
Yeah.
But still, Washington is on a retool, if you will. John Wall's out for the year. You can't take it lightly. They're 5-5 in their last 10.
They're not playing terrible basketball. They really aren't.
But they're 17-25, a team you should beat. I don't care if we're facing them on the road.
They just beat Philly. I'm just going to leave that there.
Well, yeah.
123-106. It was in Washington, yes, but we're going to be in Washington too. So
that was kind of a whatever game for Philly. They're still 27-15.
yeah, the funny thing was it was a back-to-back, and they both played each other the night before in Philly.
Jeez, Bradley
So
Beal.
it was basically a home and home.
34 points for Bradley Beal, man.
Up in that trade value there, Wizard fans. But I mean, I don't think any people know his attitude, and that's where I sit here and I'm like,
most teams, and plus we don't know how bad his attitude is. Sure, on the court he may be a little chirpy, but we don't know how his attitude is in the locker room, right? And a team that's not necessarily desperate would want to be like, we can handle this, we can fix this attitude issues, whatever. And sometimes that is the case, right? I think the perfect destination would be the Lakers. Throw in Ingram and maybe someone else, a pick.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, honestly, look.
Because Brandon Ingram has not been performing that well this year.
You also look at, sticking to the Raptors. Do you think they make a move for him?
No.
I don't think so. I think that's totally out of the question because I think the asking price is like Siakam, OG, and 2 firsts.
I think
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, but you could see why the Wizards are asking for that because Bradley Beal is an amazing player. He's a multiple All-Star.
We didn't give that up for DeMar DeRozan.
No,
for Kawhi, sorry.
And I think we talked about this on the last podcast. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but for right now, the team's gelling so well, and we already have a brand new superstar on this team.
Yeah.
We don't really need another one quite, Like, let's just say that Kawhi Leonard leaves. Oh, absolutely, get Bradley Beal. Yeah. But for right now, we're doing fine without him, and I don't think we necessarily need him. But again, I wouldn't be opposed.
Right. So moving forward, I know the trade deadline is coming up. It's not here as of yet.
It's around hockey, isn't it?
It's about the same. They're around
late
the
February.
Same time.
Yeah. About a month.
What do you think the Raptors should look at? I mean, I know this team is so good. I know they're hanging in there with first in the Eastern Conference with Milwaukee. And but what is something this team usually needs to kind of put them over the top?
Up shooter, and I think the perfect guy would be Swaggy P, Nick Young.
Really? You think he'd be the perfect fit for this team, eh?
I wouldn't say perfect fit, but something that you don't need to give up a lot for, right? I don't even know what team he's on. I think he's a free agent because Denver bought him out. Or released him, or something like that. But I think he'd be the perfect guy. Because the Raptors don't need to trade away another first. We already don't have a first for this year. Keep our first. Keep our draft picks. You could maybe see, I don't know. I feel like OG is too young to give up on. CJ Miles, you could
He's terrible.
Trade away.
You're not going to give much for him.
Well, I'm just saying that's the only players that the Raptors should and would give up, or role players or bench guys, not Siakam or OG.
Right.
Right?
And who else has trade value after them? Well, Norman Powell's got a stupid contract. No one's going to want that.
Powell, maybe
DeLon
Freddie.
Wright, maybe?
Maybe Fred VanVleet. I mean, I wouldn't trade Fred VanVleet for Nick Young, but I think Nick Young is a guy you can sign because he's not on any team. So I think, honestly, I'm on the Nick Young wagon right now.
So another guy that has obviously gained interest, and a guy that I think the Raptors should have a look at, I don't know if they will or not, Jeremy Lin. You saw what he did against the Toronto in the last game against Atlanta. He threw up 20 points and shot very well, and he's been a really good player for them, obviously averaging over 10 a game, shooting over 50%, shooting almost 40% from 3.
What team is he on now?
Atlanta.
Oh, he's on Atlanta.
Yeah.
And
he's in the final year of his deal.
Right, and that's a player that is a spot-up shooter.
But he could be a guy that's one of the buyout candidates.
Before the trade deadline?
I don't know if it's before the trade deadline or after, but remember guys like last year, like Marco Bellinelli was one of those types of guys that were at the buyout stage because Jeremy Lin's making a lot of money, and I don't think they'll be able to find somebody who wants his money right now.
So the Hawks just signed him for a 1-year deal, I think, because I don't remember him on the Hawks because he was on Brooklyn.
Well, I think he was injured last year.
No, sorry, he was on. Well, no, but he was on Charlotte last year, and then the year before, I think he was on Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. So I think the Hawks signed him to a 1-year deal, so it can't be for that much money. Jeremy Lin is still averaging, 12 points a game?
10, just over 10, but yeah.
That's perfect. He could be a CJ Miles replacement, because like you said, CJ Miles has been awful this year, so you could throw him in, and maybe a second, definitely not a first for Jeremy Lin. But the Hawks are obviously not making the playoffs, so they would want to sell off on these guys that aren't coming back. Jeremy Lin is not going back to the Atlanta Hawks.
So, yeah, he signed a 1-year deal with the Atlanta Hawks. Okay. Last year he played 1 game.
For Brooklyn.
And then 36 games the year before, and then 78, obviously, in Charlotte, and then the Lakers, and then Houston. So he bounced around quite a bit.
It's so funny how much he kind of trailed off from the Knicks. And even when I was on Houston, he was good.
That Knicks year, he averaged, where are we here?
Almost 20, wasn't it? It was like 17. Or maybe it wasn't that high.
Actually, it wasn't even that high. It was 14.6.
I think because he just came out of nowheres. He went to Harvard. He came out of nowheres. And great story. I think not the first, but a handful of Asian-born basketball players. Asian descent.
They weren't even that great numbers. You look at him. He's only shot 44% from the field, only 32% from three.
Insanity.
He probably just took a lot of shots. I don't know.
And I think he had a lot of game winners. Well, he had one against the Raptors.
He did have a lot of game winners, and yes, like that one against Toronto back then. But
Jeremy Lin, I wouldn't be opposed of. Cal Korver, I know
he went back to Utah, right?
Right,
but if Utah doesn't come back into the playoff mix, they might want to move a guy like that because of the contract.
You could even see maybe a depth center, maybe a depth big man, because we have Greg Monroe. But other than that, like let's just say that JV isn't 100% going into the playoffs.
See, I don't know about that because the Raptors have so many other options. You have Serge Ibaka who can play the 5. We've seen Pascal Siakam play the 5 at times. You know, and obviously,
but you want that size.
You have Chris Boucher as well, who could play, and he's a great looking 3-point shot from big man spot.
Personally, I think that you need that size. I wouldn't throw in Siakam in the 5 because what Siakam's.
Well, no, he's like your third or fourth option at the 5. If you don't have to, you don't want to.
I wouldn't want that. That's why I'm saying I think a good depth guy, kind of like a Greg Monroe, would be just another type of player like that. A big guy who can get offensive boards and can put up a few points. I don't know any names off the top of my head, really, but there has to be some players out there, right?
But I think
maybe a Brook Lopez.
Well, Milwaukee's not going to want to give him up.
He's not doing that well.
He's shooting the ball. He's shooting the 3 at a ridiculous rate.
Well,
his best in his career.
I'm just saying, kind of like a depth guy that they can use. We definitely don't need any point guards. We definitely don't need.
He's averaging almost 13 a game. He's shooting 37% from 3. They're not.
No, you're talking about Jeremy Lin. He's pretty much averaging the same amount of points.
Right, but Brook Lopez is a big man who can play some defense too.
No, but I'm saying like that
Milwaukee would not trade him.
Well, okay. Well, we don't necessarily know that. If the package is right, I would love Brook Lopez on because we don't know how healthy JV is gonna be once he returns. I expect him to be healthy. I expect him to be 100%.
Yep.
But there has been I wasn't expecting him to be out this long.
No, wasn't there's a name we've heard about pretty much all year long. Caldwell Pope. Can Davies Caldwell Pope on the Lakers?
He's on the Lakers. Former first round pick, I think 8th overall by the Pistons.
Yeah.
It wasn't by the Knicks.
I don't know why I was going to say Knicks. It was the Pistons.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think he's a spot up shooter because we don't really need any.
No, I know, but I know there's been obviously talk about him being moved from LA. And how's he doing this year? He's only averaging 10 a game. He's nothing special.
Nothing special. And for him, I don't know what the Lakers would, probably a second or whatever, but no, I wouldn't.
So we broke down the Brooklyn game. We've talked about a little bit about the Wizards game. Yeah, potential trades moving forward to the trade deadline. You said you want to get to 3 games. The last one, the Raptors actually play on the Sunday against the Wizards at 1 o'clock. And then they don't play again until Wednesday. So they have 3 days off, but then they're in Boston.
Well, like you said multiple times, Boston's not been good this year, and they
have won 4 straight.
Okay, in Boston,
25 and 15. However, the teams that they did beat Milwaukee, Indiana, but all 4 have been at home. So
now this is why I don't want the Raptors to go after Beal, because when the Celtics went after Hayward, they thought they were going to be absolutely amazing. I thought too, right?
We
all got injured in his first year. All right, it happens. So his first full year, he has been better, but still not up to all-star potential. That's why I'm saying, sure, it looks great on paper if the Raptors get Beal, but I don't know.
Will he fit in because Bradley Beal wants to be the guy. He wants to be the face. And will Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry let that happen? I don't know.
I don't know if he wants to be the face. I think he just wants to win. I think he just wants to win because he would be, you're just, Gordon Hayward's stats aren't great at all. 11.3 points per game. What's his shooting percentage?
He's only shooting 42%, 33% from 3. I mean, he's good from the line, but other than that, he hasn't done much.
He has been better in his last couple games.
Last 4 games, he's been in double figures. So if you want to,
someone you got to watch out for, and I'm banging on the drum about. I don't want to face Boston in the playoffs.
Nope,
I don't want to face Boston. I would rather face Milwaukee than Boston.
So would I.
I don't want
the Eastern Conference has some really, really good teams, and I don't care what
they're top heavy.
Oh, of course. That's why I said some really good teams. Indiana's a good team. I don't care what you say. The record is still good, so you can't sit back.
All right.
Boston, Philly, and Milwaukee, and then Toronto. 5 teams that are dominant, and then after that, it's all a bunch of scrappy teams that aren't really anything special.
Now, going back to Indiana, for the Raptors, you have Kawhi Leonard. For the Bucks, you have Giannis. For the 76ers, you have Simmons and Embiid. Well, mainly Embiid. And for the Celtics, you obviously have Kyrie Irving. Victor Oladipo, really?
Miles Turner.
Can Victor Oladipo, I'm just talking about one player here. Can that player bring Indiana, carry them on his back? No. I don't know why you're thinking that Indiana is such a great team.
I'm not saying they're a great team. I'm just saying right now that they're third in the Eastern Conference at 27-14, and we're all saying they're garbage. They're not terrible.
I know they're not terrible, but I don't look at them as a threat at all.
I don't either, but they're third in the Eastern Conference at 27-14.
At this point, I would rather face Indiana than Miami. Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Because Miami, they took the 76ers last year to, I don't think it was 7, I think it was 6 games, but that was a hard matchup for the 76ers.
And you look at the time the Raptors have played Miami this year, it's been hard. I think the Raptors won both, but they had to come back from a ridiculous time in the last one.
So now, question for you. Out of any team here, what team would you want to face?
In round 1?
Yes. Just name the teams you would want to face.
Out of the teams in the top 8 right this second.
Pick one team, 2 teams that you would want to face the most.
Out of the 8 that are here.
Yes, in the playoffs.
So I'm going to name them first so everyone knows. Milwaukee, Toronto, Indiana, Philly, Boston, Brooklyn, Miami, Charlotte.
Pick 2 that you would want to face in the first round.
I think we can all agree on Charlotte.
Okay.
And we can all agree on that because after Kemba, what do they got?
Okay.
No,
well, okay, so Charlotte and Brooklyn, but Indiana's
probably
not far behind. I'm sorry. I don't look at them as a team that can go far at all. I'm not a Victor Oladipo hater, but I just don't think so.
Well, my teams are Charlotte and Brooklyn because I think those two.
Yeah, okay, that was kind of a stupid question by me, but I mean, just bottom line is I wouldn't be scared at all to face Indiana in the first round. Mind you, I don't want to sleep on them and then for them to do something crazy, but I would rather face the Pacers than Miami.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I tend to agree with you in that sense. And Boston plays Miami tonight in Miami, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Obviously, Boston playing really well. And can they go on the road in Miami and get a win? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. Now, you have something to say about the Raptors picking up...
sign McClaw.
No, Patrick McCaw. He was on the the Golden State Warriors
what position is
championship.
He's a guard.
But I mean, there's nothing special about him.
He's a D-League player.
Yeah.
Oh no, but the Raptors signed him, so he's going to be on the roster?
He's going to be like Lorenzo Brown, basically. I don't think he's going to make much of an impact to the team. I think he might be a guy that... See, the weird thing is they signed him to a 1-year contract, not like a 10-day. That was the part I was really intrigued about. However, look, I trust Masai Ujiri, and I'm just going to wait and see how it all plays out. But who knows what's going to happen? You have something about JV?
JV, I'm just reading about the thumb injury. It doesn't look like he was a setback, but it just seems longer than it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it probably is, but he is progressing. It is
so
longer
let's
than we
talk
thought.
about Luka Doncic.
Yeah, you want to talk about... And I don't blame you. Look, we were talking about this before the season. We thought who could be Rookie of the Year. We talked about that, and I think both of us did mention Luka, but we didn't...
You said Anton. Or Anton, whatever his name is from Phoenix.
DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah.
I thought he had a possibility of winning it, but seeing what Luka Doncic has done this year...
For the Mavericks.
And seeing that nasty step back that guy has, it's ridiculous.
It's funny. It looks like that if someone's in his face, he's going to shoot better. Like if someone's right in his face, there's been that buzzer beater, I think it was against the Hawks. That was crazy. It was like 0.2 seconds. They threw it to him, inbounds it, and then he just... Over, 2 players, I think.
Yeah, and then yesterday fired up a 30-point performance in 36 minutes of work. I mean,
So speaking of the Hawks, are they regretting trading him? I think a little bit. Trae Young hasn't been bad.
I was shocked when they traded down like that.
Yeah, I was
really shocked when they
Mind you,
did that.
they did get a first-rounder for next year, so they got, I think it's lottery protected, but they did get the Mavericks first for next year.
Lottery protected, which means they have to make the playoffs for them to...
No, being like, if the Mavericks don't make the playoffs, then it's their pick. So it's lottery protected.
So if the Mavs miss the playoffs, the Mavs keep the pick.
Yes, but if they make the playoffs, then it's the Hawks' pick.
That's risky. Because the Mavs, they're 19-22, yes, but they have some good players and they have an opportunity. And look,
well, it's gonna be a
the way that Western Conference is looking right now. The Lakers at 4 games over 500 are in the playoffs, and Utah at 500 are out. And look at the teams above Dallas.
Yeah, no,
There's
it's a
a lot
very,
of
very
teams.
tight race. It's a very tight race, but Trae Young's been great, but he's no Luka Doncic, and I think he will win Rookie of the Year.
I think there's no question about it. He will. He's averaging 19.8 points a game, almost 7 rebounds, and basically 5 assists.
I'm still shocked this guy didn't go first overall. I said this to you, and I said this to everybody. This guy, at 17 years old, was the MVP in the EuroLeague. You know how good that is.
He's 19 years old, and he's averaging almost 20 a game. He's shooting almost 45%. He's shooting 37% from 3.
He was playing with men in the EuroLeague, and he was named MVP. Take him first. I don't care how good college players are in the NCAA. This guy was the MVP in an all-men's league at 17.
What a great job by Dallas, eh?
Yeah.
Just saying, you know what? I don't know why the other teams are so damn stupid, but we'll take Luka Doncic, no problem.
And then the guy from Sacramento, was it Sacramento or
Bagley?
Bagley went second. So I mean,
Yeah, I mean he's good, but they're not playing him starting role, which is really weird.
I don't know.
But I mean, watching Doncic perform the way he is, and it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible to watch.
Yeah, and then even Ayton said himself, Ayton?
He only had 6 points and 5 rebounds yesterday.
He said this guy deserves to be Rookie of the Year. I mean, not quote, but like he said something around that because they met. So, hey, great for Dallas to get on the upswing, and Dirk is going to ride off in the sunset, maybe in a first-round playoff exit.
It might be tricky, though. I don't know. There's a lot of teams in front of them that I don't know. They are second last in the Western Conference, if you want to look at it that way.
Well, you can't really say that.
No, it's only 4 games difference between them and a playoff spot, which is not a lot. But there's a lot of teams.
Utah is a couple games, 2 games above them, and they're 9th.
Right. But what teams are better? I think Utah's a better team than Dallas is.
Sacramento, iffy. Definitely Minnesota. New Orleans is iffy. Memphis, I don't know. It's tough. I think the 2 teams that could get into the playoffs that aren't already are Utah and Minnesota.
Really? Minnesota? Really?
Yeah, I think so, because Andrew Wiggins is performing a little.
Now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
No Jimmy Butler. He's performing better. Interesting.
Yeah.
But same with Cat. He's been balling out there in Minnesota. Look, there's a lot of question marks around the league right now, and what's up?
Reports Knicks and Kings discussing a Cantor-Randolph swap. That's horrible.
Yeah, well, that might put the.
Do you want me to go off on another New York Knicks rant?
No, I'd rather you not do that because we all know your feelings towards it, and I don't blame you because the Knicks are 10-31, and that was your dark horse team going into the season. And
that's a really terrible take.
Is Porzingis still out?
There talks about trading him too.
He's been so injured so long.
Yeah.
Spurs to be believed to have significant interest in Porzingis.
If
the Knicks trade this guy,
I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks traded Porzingis for Patty Mills in a first.
But the question arises: if you do trade Kristaps Porzingis, who's the face of your franchise?
No one. That's why the Knicks need to be on a full rebuild. Well, they already are.
They pretty much are. They've been on the last 4 years
ever since Stoudemire left and Melo left. Really, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in New York. Why would you even consider?
Cleveland's lost 11 straight games. I didn't realize that. They're 8-34.
Well, we're talking about the Knicks, so that's not much better.
That's true. It's only 2 wins.
Yeah. No, but with Zach Randolph, he's
done.
Well, I guarantee you, if they trade for Zach Randolph, it's going to be a buyout. They're going to trade him, and then he's going to play a couple of games, and then the New York Knicks buy out Zach Randolph. That's how it's going to be.
Actually, he's not even playing. He hasn't played this year.
There might be an attitude issue with cancer. I don't know, but this was the package you got for Melo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
It remains very early in negotiations. However, the Knicks are looking for a sweetener in the deal. No way. You're trying to trade Cantor for flipping a guy who hasn't played this at all this year?
We're saying sweetener. Why? Because Randolph's a bit of a tubby?
The guy hasn't played. I mean,
he's 36.
Is he actually 36
yes.
years old?
He was drafted in 01.
37.
Oh, even worse.
37 years old, Zach Randolph.
I mean, notable, great for Memphis. But, I mean, other than that, and maybe Portland back in the day with Scottie Pippen and Rasheed Wallace, that's how far we're talking back here, folks.
Jeez, those guys are they still alive?
I don't know. I don't know about Rasheed Wallace at this point. That guy was something else. But I don't know. Honestly, it doesn't even shock me anymore.
It really doesn't. I mean, look, the Knicks, I don't know what they're doing in every aspect of their game.
But for right now, they're just, at least Phil Jackson's out of there, but
it's not much better.
I don't even think Phil Jackson would do this. Well, actually, I don't know.
We're going to have to wait and see what happens.
Exactly.
Will this move get done? And if it does, it might be a hot topic on the podcast in the next few weeks if it does end up happening.
I probably had the worst take of the season about the Knicks making the playoffs.
Well, you know what? We all kind of did. I mean, you had that take. We all have rough takes, and that's just the way it goes.
Well, scorching one. But anyways, let's talk Leafs. Let's talk hockey. And let's talk Michael Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Because Michael Hutchinson, his last game, he was good. He wasn't great.
He had no help defensively from the Leafs in that game against Nashville.
How many times have we said that over the years?
Well, it's true. The first 2 goals, I was actually at that game.
Oh yeah, the Nashville one.
Yeah.
See, I didn't watch it. It was a squeaker, wasn't it?
The Leafs looked, and I mentioned it in the video, they looked like they were on the second night of a back-to-back. You had a great start, you had an okay second, and you were horrendous in the third period. They looked like they were on a second night of a back-to-back.
Penalties didn't help either.
And neither did puck luck. And I hate saying that, but it did. You hit 2 posts early on. You could have had a 2-0 lead.
It was Kadri and who else?
Matthews right away comes down right on Rene on short side and says, screw it, I'm just going to take a slap shot, and rings it inside the post.
What was up about that offside, too? I heard about...
William Nylander goes offside. Again, at the game, they didn't even show the replay on the Jumbotron, which
it was
really
offside,
weird.
too. It was offside.
But imagine if he was like a second behind that.
And people are reaming him out because it's William Nylander.
And, well, of course, and the PK Subban second goal ramps up Nylander's stick and goes top corner. So
puck luck isn't with him right now.
You had a disallowed goal and you hit 2 posts early in the game. I mean...
It doesn't help when you're facing one of the best teams in the league, but we are the best team in the league pretty much.
Pekka Rinne, I don't care what anybody says, is still a damn good goalie. Watching the Leafs hit those 2 posts and get the goal disallowed, I'm like, man, Rinne is probably jacked up right now because he's like, this is just helping me out more. And then he makes some big saves moving forward, and ideally, the Leafs don't score. And if that goal did count, if Matthews' goal did count...
It would be a totally different game.
It would have been a tie game at the time.
Yeah. I mean...
And from there, you have no idea what's going to happen.
We could say what ifs. Yep. That's all we want.
But what happened, it happened. Really?
Yeah, and Garrett Sparks and Anderson are still out, but Anderson looks like he's going to return not tonight against the Devils.
But Saturday.
Hopefully. Against Boston, hopefully. Sparks is out indefinitely. If you've not heard, because last podcast we knew... Do
you want to break down the last games, by the way?
Well, last podcast we knew that Freddie was out on... It was day-to-day at that point.
It was in Minnesota.
Okay, but they say day-to-day. He's on IR. It looks like he's going to return soon.
Because we didn't know about Garrett Sparks, so we assumed that he was going to be starting. And then later on,
morning practice.
We hear about, obviously...
Who shot the shot? William
Nylander. But people keep blaming him for this. He's not trying to do this.
Well, actually, I saw this on Twitter, which is quite funny. Somebody saying, no, this is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to Leaf fans. All Leaf fans aren't like this. They are saying that, it was a wrist shot from Willie Nee. I'm pretty sure something like that. He shot it, and Garrett Sparks' reaction time, I think they said that if he turned his head a certain way, it wouldn't have hit him. So some fans are being like, well, he did it on himself. Are you
kidding me? He has probably less than half a second to react to the shot. You think he has the time to think, this is going to hit me in the head. Maybe I should turn this way for less of an impact so I don't get hurt.
Well,
he doesn't have, by that time, the puck's already gone and you passed 2 shooters already.
Well, did it to himself, I suppose.
You can't blame Nylander. You can't blame Sparks. Nylander's trying to score, but Sparks is also trying to stop him. It's a workout for the goalie. And did it hit him in the side of the head? Yes. Did he aim for a concussion? No. Did Sparks try and get injured? No.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just stop there because that's going to make me angry. Let's
break down these last games. Can we
Minnesota, the game started at 2, and I knew what it was for because we said something about sick kids. It wasn't for sick kids. It was something like it was on the next
game.
It was the next gen game, but it was on the Christmas break. All the kids were not in school, so a bunch of kids did. I think a kid was a ref out there for practice.
Oh, for practice. Okay.
It wasn't for the real game, but there was kids interviewing them.
One of the kids did the in-arena stuff.
Yeah, I saw that too. Great. I think they should have that once a year.
It was fantastic. It was great to see. There was so much energy in the building. The problem I have with that game.
4-0 loss.
4-3.
Oh, 4-3.
The Leafs scored 2 early on. They had 1 goal like 7 seconds in by Mitch Marner, and they have the 1-0 lead. And then midway through the period, they got a 2-0 lead, and we're like, man, this reminds us last year of Carolina.
Yeah.
And then, but then the Leafs sit back defensively. they start turning the puck over, and they're throwing Hutchinson out to dry. They can't clear the initial rebounds out, and they're leaving Hutchinson to dry.
I got something to say about Hutchinson after you talk about the next game, because I think it's a very similar situation what happened 2 years ago. So, going to the Vancouver game, 5-0 whomping.
Hutchinson gets it shut out.
Hutchinson gets a
Only
shutout.
28 shots on net. The Leafs score 5 goals. But you know what? They get some puck luck. They're firing all shots on the net, and they hit 2 skates of the Vancouver Canucks and both go into the net.
Vancouver looked awful that game.
They did. But what I'm trying
Pedersen
to get
wasn't
at
playing. Brock Besser was suspect. I know. And their goaltender, Jacob Markstrom, not good.
No, he's not good at all. But in that game, they're firing the puck from all different angles of the way. In that game against Nashville, they were like scared of shooting the puck. They had a total of 18 shots.
Which isn't good.
When they did shoot the puck and they did hit the net, there were quality chances. But the problem is, you're not always going to score pretty goals. Perfect to the Vancouver game. You scored 2 goals off their opposing skates.
Yeah.
It happens. Fire the puck on the net.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, and I was frustrated as you with that game because, again, you were there, which doesn't help. Now, reports saying, I don't know, I think Chris Johnson of Sportsnet said this, quoted by Mike Babcock, that the backup job isn't secure by Garrett Sparks.
No.
And I'll think it is.
Good.
Now, this Michael Hutchinson thing, he's looked pretty good in the last 3 games. Is this Curtis McElhaney 2.0? We're going, when we traded for McElhaney, his numbers look bad. From Columbus, I'm pretty sure. His numbers look bad. Was great with us for 2 years. Well, a year and a half. With Hutchinson, pretty much the same thing. We trade for him. We didn't pick him up on waivers. Going into the Leafs, being a Leaf, he wasn't good. He had an 8-something save percentage.
4-something goals against, which is terrible.
Yeah. It looks like it's a spitting image.
I think I mentioned that in one of the videos, and I do see it. It's scary how much I see it. Because you look at Hutchinson, and you look at the way he's performed. What was Curtis McElhaney so good at? We've said it in the podcast many times. He was so good at positioning and making timely saves and being able to stay sound in the net.
Right.
Obviously, Garrett Sparks is not that.
No.
He's sloppy, he's scrambly, and clearly it either works and the pucks hit him, or they just don't. And he gets whomped. What I've noticed with Michael Hutchinson, he doesn't screw around. If there's things going on in front of his own net, he finds the puck, gloves goes down, freezes it. Doesn't even bat an eye. Makes the saves. Barely any rebounds from Hutchinson.
No, and that's what Sparks, especially with his positioning, you see him flopping around all the way out there. I'm not comfortable with Garrett Sparks in the net. I don't care about his record.
So you're off that old Garrett Sparks train
you know what? I was on it, but I gave him multiple, because my excuse for Garrett Sparks is that Babcock isn't playing him, right? He's only playing him when he has to, which is true, because that's why he was playing him when Anderson was hurt, but he didn't perform in those games when Anderson was hurt. So how can we say, yeah, he definitely stole the backup job? No. Michael Hutchinson in these 3 games hasn't looked bad. Again, not amazing,
by the way,
but better than we expected, or me and you definitely expected, for sure.
By the way, in the 4-0 loss, one was a power play, like we said, off the stick of Nylander, and if you look at like the straight down the ice view of it, there was like 3 guys standing in front of Hutchinson, so I don't know how the heck he's going to see the puck. Same with the Ekholm shot, and the 3rd and 4th goal were in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Well,
which was pretty much over.
For sure. Well, that game's done and over with. We're moving on to New Jersey. Now, you said something about the decor, which we were saying all year. We need a right-handed defenseman to play with Riley, right?
I do agree.
Now, this trade deadline is going to be interesting because Dubas has said that he wants to acquire somebody with term. Right? And I think that's great because you don't want to... So basically, that's meaning that Wayne Simmons is not going to be a Leaf. I know, I want it as bad as you do, but he's not going to become a Leaf because he's a UFA after end of this year. The one player I was looking at...
I think I know who you're going to say, but go ahead.
Not Pietrangelo.
No. Go ahead.
Radko Gudas.
Sorry, what?
What right-handed shot, right? Nasty on the back end. And I think, honestly, that you don't have to give up a lot for him. Maybe a second? I think you do that. And he has term. I think you do that. Look at his stats. Philly's not making the playoffs. Even maybe a Connor Brown. I know, Philly's lost 8 straight. Connor Brown for Radko Gudas, I wouldn't be opposed of doing, to be honest with you. I think he's better than Ron Hainsey. That's not saying much, but he's younger. He's definitely better than Ron Hainsey.
But what's he making, though?
It's probably like 2.
He did get that nice contract.
It's probably around Connor Brown money, 2.5. It's definitely not 3. Because in the playoffs, it showed with Boston. They have nasty players.
Yeah.
Marchand and Backes particularly nasty. You need those nasty players. Other than Kadri, who do we have?
Nothing.
The Leafs get pushed around a bit too much for my liking, and I think with Radko Gudas on the back end, hell yeah. Well, Go on. What player were you thinking of? What I was going to say.
Well, I'll say that first. Actually, I want to get to something about that Nashville game that I did notice, and it's kind of going off of what we're talking about here. I'll do that first, actually. Matthews got a knee-on-knee.
Okay.
They did get a penalty for it, but no one stepped up. No one did anything. And let's fast forward in that game. Patrick Marleau and PK Subban get tied up, and they're physical. I think Subban crushes him.
Yeah.
What does Marleau do after the whistle? Goes right at Subban, gets all up in his face, and you're telling me the 39-year-old's going to go after PK Subban, and when Matthews gets hit, no one's going to do a damn thing?
Because who's on Matthews' line? I don't even...
Well, that's the point we're trying to make here.
Yeah.
There's no one out there to help anybody out.
So what player were you...
Patrick Marleau was going for himself. Yeah. The guy that I was thinking, and I don't think it'll happen, I don't even really know his contract, but a guy that I wouldn't be opposed to with term and on a crappy team, Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah, that's definitely a bigger name than Radko Gudas for sure.
The reason I'm saying that is, like I said, he has term. You know he can do well. Obviously, Carolina's a crap team, so
they're not putting him on their first power play units. They're on his second. What are you doing, Carolina? They're looking to move him, actively shopping him.
And I would not be opposed.
No, but with that, you're bound to give up a first and a blue chip prospect.
That's the question, yeah.
It's going to be a first in Sandine for Dougie Hamilton.
Well, the way his season's going in that contract, I don't know.
You know what he can produce. That's why Carolina's not stupid. Yes, he's having a bad year. He's actually, in the past couple of games, he hasn't been doing bad. But Carolina knows what they have in him. And they got him for Hannafin and Lindholm. So, and Lindholm's doing extremely well. So, it's going to be a boatload. That's what I'm saying. Personally, I think the perfect guy would be Radko Gudas. 15 points in 42 games, 6 goals, 9 assists. They're not playing him like he should. You look at him in Calgary. He was a 40-point guy in Calgary. Boston, same thing.
He's been really good lately, like you said. Points in 4 straight.
Same thing like Pietrangelo. You're gonna pay an arm and a leg for a guy like that.
The reason
term.
The reason why I'm okay with that is because, like you just said, you know what he can do. Yeah. He's right-handed. He'll be at the top of your right-handed core, and he's got term, and he's 25 years of age.
Yeah, he has I think 2 years left out of $5 million cap hit, which is great.
And he's Toronto native.
And he's a Toronto native, which doesn't...
It's the reason why I wouldn't be opposed to trading some guys. And look, you got to trade things to get some good things.
For a mock trade, what would you do for Dougie Hamilton?
I would have to think about that. I mean, I would not be opposed to give up a guy like Liljegren. I know the ceiling for him is great.
But you're getting someone who's ready right now, which the Leafs are ready to win a cup right now. I don't care what anyone says. I think we are.
And getting a guy like Dougie Hamilton, he's big. He's 6'6", 210. Does he use his size? I'd have to watch more Carolina Hurricanes to know that.
He does more than JVR, which isn't saying much. But he's a big guy. Not as nasty as Gudas, obviously, but he can slot in nicely with Riley or even with Gardner.
That's why I would not be opposed to making a big trade like this. Like look what the Lightning did with the Rangers last year, getting Ryan McDonough.
Yeah.
Big piece. Obviously, it didn't work out for them that year in the playoffs, but so far this year, it's been incredible.
Oh, for sure.
I would not be opposed to making a trade for Dougie Hamilton. What would that be? I would not be opposed to getting rid of a guy like Liljegren, great young right-handed prospect for them. Connor Brown might not be a bad idea.
And it's got to be a first. I don't know what
the asking price would be. The fact that he's not having a great year, the fact that Carolina has
actively shopping him makes
that tells me that they just want to get him out of here. Which tells me that the value might be a little bit lower, or the Leafs might wait till closer to the deadline when the value just drop, and then pounce on it. But I think if the Leafs are going anywhere, I think this is a guy you got to look at.
Yeah, it's like the thing is, it's kind of similar to what Vegas, because Vegas was in talks with Karlsson last year during the trade deadline. They didn't get him, and they got Thomas Tatar instead. If they would have thrown in a little bit more, because listen, they traded away a first, 2 seconds, and a third for Tatar. Was a healthy scratch in the playoffs, didn't do anything for them. If Vegas would have either put in another first or just go that extra step, they would have gotten Erik Karlsson. What would Erik Karlsson look like on the Vegas Golden Knights? That's okay. This is like saying, right? I'm kind of comparing Radko Gudas to Dougie Hamilton here. If you're buying a vehicle, right? And you're saying to yourself, well, there's this $50,000 Toyota, which I don't even know if they make those, or I can go out and get a $70,000 Mercedes. What are you going to do?
What would you... Okay, no, the difference is...
You're already spending $50,000. Why wouldn't you just get it something that's 70 or even 60?
Right.
You're already spending that much. Why not go all out? And I think that's the perfect opportunity with Dougie Hamilton. I just want them to get another defenseman that can step in the lineup right away. Not no Justin Halls, not no Martin Marinsons, not more Rosens, Callie Rosens.
More depth guys that are going to help for a run for the playoffs.
No.
You want a guy that's going to staple himself... Like we did, like John Tavares. I'm not saying a John Tavares-esque, but you knew when you signed Tavares, bang, he's going 1 or 2 at the center spot, and that's it. That's where he's going to be. He'll be playing with Marner. You know that right away. You acquire a guy like Dougie Hamilton, you know he's going to be slotted in. Where? I'm not sure right away. They'll probably look to put him next to Riley, and you put Gardner with Ron Hainsey, which I would love to see, and then Dermott with Zaitsev would be fantastic. But
I think Zaitsev might be going the other way if that's the case.
Well, will they be willing to take the money? Will the Leafs have to eat some salary? That's the question I don't want to have to.
I would be fine with eating salary, and you have to realize Jake Gardner's contract is off the books. Ron Hainsey's contract is off the books this year. That's 2 defensemen. So if you slot in Dougie Hamilton or Radko Gudas into the mix, that's going to look a hell of a lot better for the Leafs. So it's a question out there. I think it was always meant to be for Hamilton to be on the Leafs, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Ever since that Kessel deal.
Yep, traded away that draft pick. We could have had Dougie Hamilton and Tyler Seguin if the Kessel trade never occurred.
Thanks, Burke. But anyways.
Well, we're not. It's not exactly that's what would have happened, but I mean that's where the picks ended up.
It probably would have been a better pick because if we didn't have Kessel, then it probably would have been the first overall pick and maybe something.
Taylor Hall
and someone higher than 8th. Or sorry, lower than 8th. My bad.
Where Dougie Hamilton was?
Yeah, because he was 8th.
9th.
Or 9th. So it probably would have been worse because we wouldn't have had Kessel.
Yeah. I mean,
well, actually, wasn't Kessel injured, though, when he came to the Leafs?
Initially, he was. I'm just going to look up here the draft. I'm actually very curious now.
Yeah,
2011 draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's a topic that Leaf fans have always been begging Kyle Dubas to do, and this may be,
So there wasn't a big draft. It really wasn't.
Well, who was... Okay, well, no, just go... Okay, so Dougie Hamilton was 9th, so we could have got Sean Couturier.
Mark Scheifele.
Those are 2 big names.
But then you got Zibanejad, Strome, and Adam Larson.
And then you got Huberdeau, Landeskog, and the Nuge.
Would you have been top 3? Maybe.
Top 3, you would have got Huberdeau, but...
The thing about you would have had the assist man in Huberdeau with Tyler Seguin. Anyways, I think we're done talking about that because we just went way off course, but...
Yeah. No, exactly. Do you want to talk about the moves that the Edmonton Oilers have made? If you're a GM in the National Hockey League, you should be calling up Peter Chiarelli all the time.
Yeah, hey, Chiarelli, you want to give us Clefbaum for nothing, bud?
Not even that. Give us Jesse Puljujarvi for Connor Brown.
Honestly, wouldn't surprise me.
Throw in Zaitsev for your good puck-moving defenseman. Not really, but don't tell him that.
yeah, he probably doesn't scout him anyways.
Yeah, they just lost 7-2 against the San Jose Sharks.
They're 2-8 in their last 10 games. They just lost 1. They're 500. They're not playing
let's talk about these trades.
So everybody talking about that Koskinen, whatever he is, the numbers of fucking...
Koskinen. You pulled the Don Cherry there.
Yeah, Koskinen, kid.
From South Africa.
Yeah, a little bit off there, Don. Yeah, his numbers have come back down to earth.
So let's talk about these trades. Not so much the Oilers. They traded... So for 2 defensemen, they traded... who was it? The guy... Okay, well, they traded for Brendan Manning, which is... the guy who broke Connor McDavid's collarbone.
Right, so you might as well... if you don't want to face him because he broke your captain's arm...
So they're paying Lucic $6 million to protect McDavid in his own locker room.
Pretty much. I mean, hey, you might as well, right? If it saves Connor McDavid.
Yeah. They traded...
Matt Benning?
It was Drake Caggiula and and someone else for Brendan Manning and I think Jason Garrison. No, sorry. It was Garrison and Caggiula for Manning and someone else on Chicago.
No, it's not that guy. I don't even know who that is.
Joseph Cambriella? No.
Gambardella?
Mind you, so they traded away that. Then they
For Ryan Spooner? Didn't they acquire?
no. The thing about Ryan Spooner, they tried to put him into the trade.
They just acquired him.
I
for
know.
Ryan Strome.
That's why Peter Chiarelli is throwing. He's basically throwing water at a wall and then trying to make it stick.
Yeah, pretty much. Doesn't really work there, bud.
No.
Alex Petrovic is the other one they acquired.
I don't know who they traded for.
Let me go down here. For Weidman. Is that Chris Weidman? And
They just acquired Chris Weidman as well.
Chris Weidman and a third.
Mind you, Petrovic is...
Dude, just
He's
stop.
To give Edmonton the
Benefit of the doubt?
right, because we really haven't. He has looked good previous seasons with the Panthers. We were talking about the Leafs maybe getting him. Yeah. Right-handed shot, big body. This season, he is having a horrendous year.
2 assists in 31 games and a -13.
And they acquired a guy in Brendan Manning who, if you want to look up his stats quickly. So that is a combined 61 games, 5 points.
And a combined -30.
And you gave up a third Kajula and Garrison, which wasn't never that much. That, I'm sorry. I know you wanted to get tougher. You already have grit on the back end. You have Darnell Nurse, Zach Kassian, and Lucic. And Connor McDavid is having a ridiculous season.
63 points in 42 games.
I should know how good he is. He's on my fantasy.
Lucky ass.
Hey,
but I mean,
if you want, give me 3 of your best players and we'll talk about it.
No thanks. I'm not giving you Rantanen.
Are you sure about that? Not now, Mr. Lost 2 straight? We'll talk about that.
That's the team. Okay. It's not like it's a
But
goal.
going back to the Oilers, you can't see Connor McDavid finishing his contract with the Oilers, can you?
The way this team is playing and the way they're built, no. They still do not have a goaltender. Kaskainen, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name right this time.
Good South African kid.
Great old South African kid, Kaskainen. Great old kid. Hey, Donnie's from Finland. That's close enough, eh? I mean, but look, the numbers aren't great. That's Cam Talbot. 3.2 goals against average and not even a 900 save percentage.
What's this?
Those are first star, second star,
He actually got a first star one game, eh?
He must have had one shutout, right? Yep, one shutout. So there you go.
I think Peter Chiarelli needs to be fired immediately, but that's besides the point. I think you had a good hit in Alex Chason, who's having a great year. Other than that, now this is how bad the Oilers are. You are lacking the most profitable position in the league, wingers. There's so many wingers out there.
Ask us Leaf fans.
Why wouldn't they give up a B-level prospect for Josh Levo?
Yeah.
No, seriously. Josh Levo could have played top 6 minutes, and he probably would have scored 20 goals.
And is he injured right now for Vancouver?
I don't know. But going back to Edmonton, I don't know why they would put in... Oh, he's on IR.
Yeah.
The back injury.
Yeah.
I don't know why Edmonton would have done that, right? Instead of throwing guys like Ryan Spooner, who's a center, and they're playing him on the left wing. Oh, Jujar Kara, Lucic.
The funny thing is, and you look at the Western Conference, even though they're so bad, are the Edmonton Oilers, they're only 3 points out of a playoff spot. The Ducks are, I don't know how, 2 games over 500, the Ducks are in a playoff spot, and they've lost 9 straight. I don't know how they're still in the playoffs, but I mean, you look at the Eastern Conference and look at the teams in the wild card spot.
Yeah, okay, so I mean, last thing on the Oilers, even firing Peter Chiarelli, what does that even do? Because management is such in a turmoil right now. You got to clean house management. Daryl Cates has to go, right? I mean, I don't know what they're doing because they acquired these players like Spooner and Chris Weidman, and they're already trying to get rid of them. They're literally throwing water at a wall and trying to see if it sticks. It's not going to stick.
I know. I mean, look.
I think Jesse Puljujarvi is going to get traded, and I think that's a huge mistake. And I hope the Leafs acquire him.
They give up.
I want to see a fleecing, an all-Canadian fleecing, and let it be the Leafs. I want to see something like that happen.
You heard it here first, folks.
Zaitsev and Connor Brown for Puljujarvi. Zaitsev's a great puck-moving defenseman.
We're getting rid of another defenseman.
What does he do?
Well, nothing. But
throw Calle Rosen in there. It doesn't matter. I think he's a great puck-moving defenseman. He can put up a lot of points. He has a great wrist shot. Hey, Oiler fans, he's all yours. And Connor Brown can score you 30 goals. There you go.
Hey, you
Hey, don't look too much into it, but
you know Peter Sorelli's like listening to this right now, and he's probably like, that sounds pretty good to me.
hey, yeah, you know what? We'll throw in a fifth too.
Whoa,
Maybe even Garrett Sparks.
They need a third back because they already traded that away.
Well, I'm definitely not. Oh, you know what? Hey, throw in a third too, and Garrett Sparks.
We'll keep Connor Brown though. We'll keep Connor Brown.
So Zaitsev in a third, with no salary because Zaitsev is worth almost $5 million.
Yeah,
Great player. Great player.
So can we go move somewhere else other than Edmonton? Can we talk about Winnipeg real quick?
Yeah.
And they're a great team. They're second place in the Western Conference. They're playing good hockey. They have the exact same record as the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's funny.
But Patrick Laine has been subpar this entire year, except for one stretch where he couldn't stop scoring.
Yeah. He hasn't scored in 7, 8 games.
No, he scored one goal. But let's go back to that goal stretch where he was ridiculous. There we are, right there. 6 goals in a matter of 3 games, and everyone's like, "Whoa, that's crazy." But he's been so streaky. He's been 1 point in his last 4 games, 1 goal in his last 10. And yeah, he has 24 goals, and everyone's like, "Oh wow, he's so good, he's so good." The guy's got 32 points in 42 games, 24 goals, 8 assists. He's a -12 on a team who is 14 games over 500.
Well, they haven't been playing that well lately. I think they're maybe 500, which isn't that good for a team of their caliber. Okay, 6-4. Yeah, I mean, with him, once he finds his scoring touch, he's like Ovi, because I remember Ovi even 2 years ago, he was extremely streaky, and then he gets back to form the year prior. The next year.
You look at the last 2 years, Ovechkin's been point per game each year.
But there was times, remember about trading Ovi? Do you remember that? That was like a year or two ago, right?
And Ovechkin's been actually in a pretty big goalless slout, too. 1 goal since December 15th.
I'm not worried. He's going to get back to form. Yeah, Patrick Laine is going to score about 40 goals this year.
Well, he's already on 24, so he probably will. He'll get hot at some point. But it's the consistency factor.
And you're kind of mad at that because you have him on your fantasy.
I'm pretty angry about that.
That's why you brought him up.
Same with Kyle Connor. They had great years, and I'm like, boy, this is going to be one heck of a fantasy year. And then, bang, they start slumping hard.
And you're 9-4. That's shocking.
Hold on. Now I got something to say about that. I looked into this. I have scored the most amount of points in the league.
How'd you search that up?
It's on the standings. The most points in the league scored going into this week. Lot? But I'm in the bio. It's like 50 points or something.
Oh, I thought you meant in total.
No,
this week. Oh,
no, I'm off this week. I'm talking in total this whole year.
Oh, how do you search that?
Well, I'm going to show you right now because why the hell not? Look at this. Now, it might change because I'm off this week, but standings, points for and against. You have 1525. Where am I? 1570. I am leading the league in points, but you look at points against. Now, that has nothing to do with my play because it's the teams that are facing me, right? Okay, hold on. So you have 1,158, which is the least, so the teams play the worst against you. And I have 1,348 leading the flipping way. So yeah, I score the most, but I give up the damn most.
Well, I mean...
So I will take the most, and I will run with it.
All I gotta say, dude...
22-9-4, whatever. All I gotta say is goddamn bull garbage. Who am I facing next week? Let me just say it right now in the pod. Hold on.
Ethan?
I already paid him last week. I flipping lost to the guy or something like that. I'm playing you next week. I swear. Ladies and gentlemen, this might be an interesting podcast next week. Because, my God, I am playing this guy
at home.
If I give up, if I start giving him 150 points to you,
I would throw in Lundqvist at that point.
I might as well, even if it gives me a minus. But it's ridiculous. So that's what I wanted to say to you about that whole fantasy garbage.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Jeez. I looked that up and I'm like, that's why I'm 9-4, because everyone plays their greatest against me.
Well, it doesn't help when you don't have a superstar on your team other than Crosby.
I've scored the most points in the league.
Well, were you winning?
Doesn't matter.
Are you winning?
It's not my fault. It's not like, your goalie
Well,
sucked.
if your players were that good, you would have beaten these teams that had
You've given up the least points in the league. The teams play the shittiest against you.
Remember,
So don't give me that. I know it. Hey, look. Shit is poop. All right, so let's move on from this. All right, anything else hockey you want to talk about? Bobrovsky, yeah, he's not playing tonight for disciplinary reasons because he's an idiot.
He gone.
What else here?
There's Patrick Laine. And
yeah, that's why I brought it up. I saw that. Got to stay focused and not lose your.
Tell that to your 9-4.
Tell it to my 9-4. Yeah, Laine, come on, smarten up, bud. Oh my God. Landeskog's been better than, Matt Duchene's been better than you. And he was one of my last picks.
How about Nick Schmaltz?
He's gone. But anyways, what else we want to talk about here? Because I got to talk about something other than this stupid fantasy.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the World Juniors again.
You want to talk about that?
Well,
Canada eliminated. U.S. did not win gold. Finland wins gold.
I don't think Finland's that far because everyone was shocked Finland won. I'm not that shocked because Finland a couple years ago was the I wouldn't say Denmark, but more the Switzerland type, right? And they really I wouldn't say last 10 years, maybe the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Now someone like Switzerland is getting to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? Well, you gotta say it now. No.
Well, I just want to say that Mitch Marner, I totally forgot about that. Yesterday, Mitch Marner's agent came out and said 100% he's not negotiating this season.
Well,
it's going to be at the end of the season. So that's been set in stone.
And Zach Hyman's returning tonight.
After an 8-game absence, which we have missed him dearly.
We're really time crunching right now, so there's a lot to talk about, but we're kind of... Let's flip to the Jays, and I mean...
Wow, an hour already. Oh, my God. Let's go to the Toronto Blue Jays here, and this is what I'm going to do, people. I'm literally going to go to the team, if I can even do that.
If you're a fan of the podcast and of the videos, and you're hoping, and you always click on the timestamp for the Jays, I'm sorry if this kind of disappoints you, but there's really...
You guys should know, at this point in time, there's literally nothing going on. Okay, so we can talk about the two acquisitions by the Jays.
Shortly.
They're not very. We got to talk about it.
All right.
The two players the Jays acquired. I know we briefly touched on it in the last video, but I want to talk about it a little bit. Matt Shoemaker, the Jays picked up. I mean, I think he's going to be a pretty good addition to the team. Again, who the heck knows? Who's the other one? Clayton Richard, again, older guy, right? 35 years old. Didn't have a great year last year. Don't really expect a whole lot from him. And Jaime Garcia, former Blue Jay, obviously. Started the year with the Jays last season, and then announces his retirement just yesterday. He was up there.
I think we kind of went through these last podcasts because Ethan was like the Schumacher, or was Shoemaker?
Matt Shoemaker.
Yeah.
Well, Shoemaker is younger, but yeah, I do see that as a thing. I do believe that the Blue Jays will trade Matt Shoemaker at the end of the season, or like at the trade deadline, no matter how he's doing. Just for the fact of he's on a 1-year deal, and if he has a good season, you trade him.
And the two free agents that are still available, and it looks like Machado's asking for the sun and the moon.
And we're hearing that Bryce Harper might actually go back to the Nationals.
I hate that.
And Machado might go to the Phillies. Hey, Yankee fans, you loving it? Even though he'll probably end up going to the Yankees, just after.
So maybe you should eat those words right there, Mister. But I mean, I hate that when everything. That's what I thought about the John Tavares thing. Oh, why is media making a big deal out of this? He's just gonna go back to the island. Didn't happen. Same thing like this. Oh, Bryce is gonna go here. Bryce is gonna go there. He's gonna stay with the Nationals.
Well, you got to remember that the Nationals did offer him $300 million, and he declined it.
Are they gonna win anytime soon?
Because
no.
Quote his agent, Bryce wants to be the highest paid player in the league, and that is Giancarlo Stanton at $325 million.
End quote. Well, he's a good player.
He is, but Giancarlo Stanton, he's no Giancarlo Stanton. I know Bryce Harper's great, and I know he's got a great arm in the field, and he's got great power, but he's been a hit or miss. So was Bryce Harper. He had a terrible start to the year. So I think he's still a world-class talent. I think he'll still get a boatload of money, as he's well-deserved. However, I don't know if a team's going to end up giving him $300 million.
Yeah, that's a bit...
Or more.
Yeah, no. I agree with you. It's a bit much, but it's... Free agency is, 2 months into it? I don't know where these two are going.
What day is it today? January?
9th.
The 10th. Spring training commences on the 21st of February. In almost a month.
And if these guys aren't signed by then?
These guys aren't signed. And for God's sakes, we're not it feels like the baseball and hockey, or the hockey and basketball season just started. That's what it feels like.
It's almost half done.
Yeah. Well, that's true. It is almost half done. But these seasons are just a month away. And I just wanted to get to the Philadelphia Phillies real quick here. And obviously the talks between them and Manny Machado have heated up and all that kind of stuff. If I'm looking at them as a team that I do believe that they have a really good chance of landing Machado. Not for many reasons. Number one, money-wise, they have a ton of money to spend. Yeah. Gene Segura is a shortstop, and they just acquired him from Seattle. If Machado is going to play third base, that is a nasty left side of the infield. Do
you think that they'll be a contender?
I think Gene Segura might play shortstop. I do believe so. I really do. You add a guy like Manny Machado to your third base. This team showed last year that they are better than they're a lot better. They also added David Robertson from the Yankees, who's a very good reliever. They who else did they add here? I'm trying to find any other names that Jake Arrieta.
Whoa.
Actually, did Jake Arrieta go last? I think he was there last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he's really bald, eh?
Yeah, he was there last year. Yeah, he is. And they have Aaron Nola, who could have won Cy Young Award last year.
So they have pieces, maybe a wild card spot.
Yeah, I do. Oh, it depends what they keep doing. If they keep going after players, look, they have a really good. Andrew McCutchen as well. Ideally, Andrew McCutchen is 32 years old now. However,
in his prime is
dwindling a little bit, but he's still a very impactful player. Yeah. I do believe the Phillies are a really good team, and I think that they are going to be a team that's going to go after Machado. And it would not surprise me if Machado stays in the National League. It really wouldn't.
Why is that?
For the fact of it being, look, in the American League East, if he was to go to the Yankees, you want to win a World Series. The Boston Red Sox are instantly that team that's above everybody.
But if they had Machado, they're going to be on.
I mean, look, he's already played in the American League East.
I think it's just pitching with the Yankees mainly.
Yeah, I do agree. They brought back J Happ, but I don't think they still have a good.
Well, compare pitching for with the Red Sox. There's really no comparison.
No, and same with Houston and the Dodgers. And all those great teams that have been in the World Series. I don't know if the Yankees have it. Now, we say that every year and that they go pretty damn far.
But I think that Machado was on such a mediocre team for so long. He wants to be on that already contending team.
I think the Phillies
are they're not already contending. What? They're contending for a wild card? That's not.
Machado's not old. We got to remember that. He's not a guy.
He's not old, but why would he be going to a team that might make the wild card? No. He wants to be with a team that can win it all.
Well. Money talks. Money talks.
Well, this is why they have.
And the Phillies have the money. The Yankees.
So do the Yankees.
Do they? Do they really? They just absorbed Giancarlo Stanton's contract.
But we've seen multiple years that somehow the Yankees pull this off.
I just don't believe. Look, I guess I don't want to believe it, but also the fact of the Yankees have some very good pieces as well, already in those spots where Machado would go.
Yeah.
Where I'm thinking to myself, well, would that really fit?
Well, it's tough to say, but I just don't like you said in last podcast that it's been 2 months and the big
fish are still there.
So you know what? I think we're gonna be done talking about it because if you sign, great, we'll talk about this segment more. But nothing's going on.
Nothing's going on. The Blue Jays haven't done anything.
So
it's almost 1 month until spring training. It's crazy. We have podcast questions.
Oh yeah, we got a few.
I'm gonna pull that up here.
We got a few.
Man, I really went on that fantasy rant there.
Hey,
I didn't realize that was coming.
I didn't realize you were actually leading the league in points. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Neither did I until I checked it out. All right, we have Roderick. Should Hutchinson replace Sparks as the backup goalie for the Leafs?
If he keeps
the
playing...
only problem with that is. You play Hutchison, you would have to waive Sparks. And if you waive Sparks, he can be claimed. However, would he be claimed with his play in the NHL? I don't know. That's a big iffy thing.
I think he would trade him rather than waive him.
Would you?
Well, actually, I don't know about that because we were crying for goaltending depth for so long. Yes, Hutchison's been performing, but you're losing another depth piece.
You know what I would not be opposed to waiving him because of his terrible play in the National Hockey League?
It's hard to say. I don't see. That's so tough if he'll get claimed because he has that piece so young. He's 25 as a goalie. That's so young.
I know.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't think he's positionally sound to play in the NHL.
No, I agree with you.
Fonzie0077, how do you feel about the McCaw planned deal with the Raptors? Again, we don't think it's going to impact the team too much.
That's like a Lorenzo Brown.
He? Maybe. I mean, look, you've seen crazier things happen.
Like
right?
what?
Fred VanVleet go undrafted and then become six man of the year nominee of the year after.
But he's on the roster. You could see him in the G League.
Yeah.
After the Raptors
I don't know. I don't think he'll make a big impact, but you never really know. You never know until you actually see the guy on the court and see him play, but I don't think he's going to be a big impact for this team there, Fonzie. Chatterbox reviews, Kawhi or Giannis for best player in the Eastern Conference right now.
We can discuss this. Personally, I think it's hometown bias, though. I think it's got to... See, I don't know, because Giannis out there just looks like he belongs...
But so does Kawhi.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, physical stature, Giannis 100%.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't make you the better player, right?
No, it doesn't. That's so hard. I can't choose.
I can't either, because, look, Kawhi is an amazing defender. Giannis ain't bad either.
But Giannis brought the Bucks to where they are now.
Agreed. But also, you got to remember, Kawhi, DeMar DeRozan...
I know. And he's looking better than he ever was on the Spurs, Kawhi.
Yeah.
That's tough. I can't even. Usually, I would choose someone. I'm pulling you right now because you're like, I have no idea. Where I usually choose something,
it's so hard because both players are so damn good in their own ways, and they're so good in all aspects of the game. So it's really, really hard to choose one guy.
It'll honestly come down to what team gets farther in the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, and who performs in the playoffs. And you know Giannis and you know Kawhi Leonard are going to perform in the playoffs. It's just a matter of what team goes farther. Yeah. But even then, that doesn't make them the better player.
No.
It makes the team the better team.
But I mean, that's how close, yeah.
Yeah, that's how close it is. Sorry about not really answering their chatterbox, but
we really
that's hard. That's really hard to do. All right, guys.
That's going to wrap it up for episode 2, season 2 of the TO Sports Talk podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you're listening on the podcast, on your favorite podcatcher, on YouTube, whatever, we'll be back next week. I don't know, probably Thursday maybe.
Yeah, something along those lines. We'll talk about it, and I'll let them know in the videos.
Yeah. Sounds good, and then I guess you'll be talking to them
tonight. Tonight is the Leafs are in New Jersey taking on the Devils, and then tomorrow is the Raptors are in. Are they home? They're home taking on Brooklyn. Yeah. So hopefully for some good things to talk about next week.
And then Saturday night too. You're gonna be over.
I'll be over here watching the Boston game, stressing out as always. Because why the heck are we? I think. Oh wait, actually, are we in Boston? Did I check that?
Yes, we are. And I think you're gonna be stressing over the Cowboys too.
I don't like the Cowboys. Who are they
being
playing?
a Giant?
I totally forgot.
The Rams.
I wouldn't usually say it, but let's go LA Rams. Todd Gurley, let's go, baby.
But they got Zeke. And
I
Dak.
don't care. I don't care. Dak can go crying in his corner all he wants. That's all I got to say.
Coming from the Giants fan. Who you want to draft again?
That's a discussion for a different story. If people want to ask that in the questions, you guys go ahead, because then I think we both gladly answer some football questions in the comments, guys. Go do that. And we thank you guys so much for your support every single week. And I will talk to you guys later tonight, Leafs edition. Tomorrow, Raptors edition. And Evan and I will talk to you guys sometime next week, podcast edition. Same time. Well, I mean, it'll probably be same time.
Yeah, okay.
Same place. And I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. And Evan and I will talk to you guys then.
Peace.